ナム妙法蓮華経ナム妙法蓮華経ナム妙法蓮華経Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hi, everyone. Welcome. If you're new, thank you for being here. Please look up on the homepage of this channel the ways of using these resources. There'll be pictures of the search window or the search what to call it. You know, in the middle of the homepage, there's about and videos and playlists, and at the end, there's a little magnifying glass. That's the search bar, window, whatever, where you can look for certain subjects or keywords within this channel. I mean, we're going to reach 800 videos soon on this channel, so the search is almost necessary, really, for finding. You don't want to be scrolling through that many videos looking for a title that maybe, or a description that might intrigue you or be related to a question you have. So use that search. And you can use that search to find videos to tell you about how to use that search, as well as the website, threefoldlotus.com, the bookstore, the mandala store, all of the resources, and the audio podcasts that you can download and listen to at your leisure. I was watching a video. I use Google to research and YouTube to research and see different branches of thinking and philosophy, science, so on and so forth. And Daniel Dennett is somebody I greatly admire. And I think I've heard this before, but I caught something this morning where he was talking about, and I forget what he called it. It was really wonderful wordplay, but basically it's about agency and how critical that is for us to understand as Buddhists, for many reasons. That we do not worship, we do not have faith, we do not pray. These words are words of assigning agency to something other than ourselves. That's simply not Buddhism. But those words creep up constantly in English translations because they're cultural biases. They're so ingrained that people, and in scholarship, it's not tolerable. To me, it's a serious blemish on academicians and scholarship to translate Buddhism so poorly as to mislead people about what Buddhism is. It is not a religion. And let me back that up and understand why I say this. Dennett was talking about mammals, not just humans, but mammals. He said, your dog. If you've ever noticed your dog or someone else's dog can be sitting there resting, sleeping, and there'll be a loud noise or it doesn't have to be that loud, but a noticeable disturbance or noise outside of the house, and you're in the house, the dog's sleeping, and the dog will jump up and look around, maybe growl, maybe bark. And essentially what the dog is doing is, what's that? Who's there? What's going on? And then, if there's no further noises or anything, it'll just calm back down and go back to resting and falling asleep. All mammals have this mechanism. And I would suggest that it's because of identifying, that thing we do about thingifying everything in our perceptions, our consciousnesses, right? Sight, hearing, touch, smell, so on and so forth. And what I mean, again, by identifying isn't that is that. What we miss in a very important subtlety of that is that is not this. We identify our self, our ego, our apparatus by virtue of identifying everything that is not, or that is that pillar of being, the self, the ego. That's why it's called ID, identification. Yes, that's a chair. I call it a chair. I put the label chair on it. But what's important about knowing that I've identified that chair and give it a name, so on and so forth, is that chair is something that is not me thing, not me, not self, not my idea of self. That's what's important about the identifying constant energy. That is the energy that misleads us, that causes anxiety and stress. This is the very thing that Buddhism identifies and labels and put it up on the blackboard for everyone to see. Why is that important? Because when the dog jumps up and looks for an agent, what caused that noise? What caused that disturbance? What changed my state of being? This is a mammalian tendency, a condition of the samsaric mind. And you could say, go down a lot of rabbit holes here. You could say, well, yeah, that searching for agency is part of the survival mechanism, right? Because you need to know if a threat is approaching. Or it's a part of the survival mechanism for finding food or shelter. Or there's a lot of ways to dig into why that mechanism exists in the mind. That immediate response of searching out agency. And what I want you to consider is that immediate response of searching for agency is the same response that says, what's not me? Am I doing that? I'm not doing that. If it's not me doing that, who's doing that? In that very specific moment, thought moment, there is the implication, stronger than an implication, that there is a puppet master, that there is an other, that there is something else running the show. We relegate ourselves to the position of an observer because we assume some other to be observed. This is the province, by the way, of religion, politics, military, all of it. It's the same mechanism, let me move away from the dog for a moment, of a drought. Why hasn't it rained? Why? You know how much I hate that word. Because it is the precursor of what have I done? What have I not done? Who is in control? If I subjugate myself, will it rain? If I appease this other, will it allow it to rain? The idea that there is some other agency. And what Shakyamuni has taught us is that if we want to live this life fully, we need to let that mechanism die, go away. Because the truth of the matter is the only one with agency is you, is our mind. Our mind is the agent. Our mind is the one that's saying, to live my life happily and securely, I need to be mindful of what's happening around me. Not that someone else is controlling that. That's largely fear. What if? There is no what if. Right now it's not raining. So adjust your behavior to adapt to this condition. And if you meditate about it, in other words, consider within your mind what the best result is to perform in this tendencies and conditions, then your behavior will reflect this situation and you will make the best possible result happen of your own accord. Not to appease or beg or wonder about some other puppeteer running things. You're the puppeteer. This is what we do when we chant Namo Myo Renge Kyo. I'm in total control of the way I experience my life. Let me accept that responsibility because it's the truth. How easy is it to be responsible for something that's already yours? But more to the point, let me stop looking outside of myself for something to rescue me out of every situation. That's deeply important because that mechanism is the one that's always used to manipulate us, to use us, to subjugate us. There's the puppeteer. We give them, whoever they are, governments, religious leaders. They're not leaders, they're manipulators. That's the world of anger. Treating you as less than you are. You're Buddha. Accept the fact that you're Buddha and take control of your life now. Chant Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. I am doing this. All of this is the process of life, and I am its witness. Are you witnessing something other? No, you're witnessing the karmic momentum of your life. What is energy? There isn't blue energy, green energy, happy energy. No, those are qualities that we assign to energy, but energy is manifesting any which way according to the actions, the tendencies, and the conditions that are applied to it. Like a molecule. There are strong forces, weak forces, electromagnetic force, but all of those forces and all of those descriptions are just instantiations, manifestations of energy in varying tendencies and conditions. And if you understand it that way, that's why you hear me say this is potential, because you can't count the amount of ways that you can manipulate or condition energy. What you can do is observe the manifestations, and that's what we're doing. That's the entire universe. Your life, my life, the dog's life, the tree's life. It's all life, just manifesting certain tendencies and conditions, right? Energy plus action. Energy plus work. So when we focus our mind's energy, that is how agency is brought about. The only agency. Right? When we mammals make up our minds, what we're doing is focusing our particular tendencies and conditions from our momentum, and we're influencing it, that momentum, to manifest in a particular pattern, a particular desired direction. We modify the momentum. And so when you hear people saying change karma, that's what we're saying. If we modify the momentum, we're taking the karmic, the components, and shifting their direction. This is what we mean by moving toward a life-affirming, enlightened way. And most important in that is that we're redirecting energies, momentum that takes us toward attachment, identifying other. So, what is faith then? That horrible word, faith, which keeps getting hammered into our cultures, is about submitting to something else that has agency on us. That's a profound illusion. That's childish. Remember the song, "You better not shout, you better not pout, I'm telling you why." That's the setup. Your behavior determines how Santa Claus will behave. No. That means Santa Claus has power over your life? No. You want to be naughty or nice, accept the result. Naughty or nice is your decision. And what you hope to gain from it is your decision. And what you get from it is your result, not something else's. That's so juvenile. And yet it runs entire cultures. It's abhorrent. This is the age of degeneration. That is the status quo. I don't care if it's Catholic or Jewish or Muslim or pagan or whatever. And to assign that mechanism, that same, I don't even know, it's abhorrent mechanism to Buddhism is the greatest insult. And this is why we read constantly that these people who do that are the enemies of Shakyamuni Buddha. And all Buddhas, in all 10 directions, so on and so forth. Because they're destroying our very agency. This is the core of Buddhism, our agency. To be happy is to be in complete agency. The Buddha mind is the mind that knows without doubt or reference to other forces what life is for one's self. Words, they fall apart here. Because to be Buddha is not to identify ego self as a separate other. Just experience your momentum, the momentum of life, which is your particular tendencies and conditions. Nothing controls that but you, your conscious choices. That's it. You're the one with agency. Yeah, but other people have agency too. Other minds have agency. They're dealing with their momentum. How you respond to them is your agency. They didn't do that to you. You experience them doing something for them. Just like when somebody insults you, they're not changing anything about you. They're just expressing something of theirs. If you choose to hear what they're saying and own it, there's that possession thing, attachment thing, then what are you doing? You're taking your own presence, your own agency, and you're accepting their manipulation of it. How foolish is that? Rather, when they assault you or assault you, you should laugh at their fantastical feathered display of their ignorance. Just as you should be humble when you get these effusive, I've met people, I've been in the arts, painting, and whatever you're doing. There's always this group of energy that will come to you and go, "You're so amazing. You're just wonderful. I don't know how you do it." Now, are you going to hear that as, "Well, yes, I know I'm superior"? Well, then you're a fool. You should have humility because somebody is displaying their self-loathing. They're displaying their fawning, which is manipulation because they don't really believe that. But they're trying to rub up against your fame or your wonder or whatever. That flattery, that idle flattery. They don't believe that, but they know it works. What do you mean it works? Well, means they'll get maybe a better deal. Or there's some kind of a fame component that rubs off on them if they fawn that way. You know what? It doesn't matter what their motives are. Those motives are theirs. They have nothing to do with you. And that's why when I hear that kind of stuff from people, it embarrasses me. It's the emperor's new clothes. Oh, you're being naked right now. It's not that pretty. I wince. And sometimes to be polite, I'll say, "Thank you. Can I move? I'll find someone else to talk to." Be humble. Look at your own life. Or just be honest. "Oh, thank you. I this one especially, I struggle with. I really work hard on." All true statements. But don't make it up. Just go, "Oh, this was a transitional piece that I spent, this is probably the culmination of my whole life in doing this." Yes, thank you more. Ugh. It's all ego. All of it. You get addicted to that. And then you wonder, why am I not getting that this week? How have I failed? Why isn't it happening? So much easier to just be truthful with yourself, number one, because you're the only one with agency. All of that other stuff is people expressing their agency. What does it matter? The only value any of that has is if you move it toward Buddhahood. Oh, you want to express yourself? All of you, try chanting. Yeah, chant with me. Oh, what's that? That sounds amazing. And one of two things will happen. They'll never show up because you've blown their illusion and I don't want to do that. Or they'll show up and they'll be amazed and they'll start on a path toward Buddhahood. Whether they realize it or not, you've planted the seed. So it will happen, but it may not happen immediately. They may then leave and start to label you a nutbag. That's them. That's not you. You're not a nutbag because they're calling you a nutbag. I mean, this is just common sense, right? I constantly tell you, Buddhism is about reason and rational thinking. A dog is not rational when it reacts to a noise and assigning agency away from itself. But even a dog will quit that the minute it feels secure again and goes, oh, okay, it was nothing. Humans, though, man, we're crafty. And this is something David Dennett talks about. Because then we'll launch these conversations in our head. What was that noise? You get up out of bed. You go searching down the halls. You think you're a ninja and you're going to take on whoever shows up. Or you grab a baseball bat, whatever. And even after you've determined that all the locks are locked, all the windows are closed, there's nothing in the house, still you go back to bed with the bat next to the bed and you're thinking, but it could have been. Would it have been a man? Could it have been a neighbor? Could it have been some vagrant? Could it have been somebody looking for food? Could it have been an animal? Maybe they're still digging a hole through the floor. And you're multiplying these thoughts, one after another, after another, after another. And then somehow you finally get back to sleep, and the next day you can't wait to tell somebody about the noises you heard and how you thought, could it be a person like this? Could it be could it have been an animal? And then they're going, wow, there might be something in the neighborhood. There could be a prowler. There could be something going on. I'll have to pay attention to that. And the myth builds and builds and builds. Congratulations, you've started a religion. Because that is the very mechanism religions work on, not Buddhism. We don't worship anything. We don't pray for absolution or receiving. We don't have faith that something will save us, that we're affecting other agencies. Those words are absolutely abhorrent. Everything about Shakyamuni's teachings is about understanding our own mind. Even to the point of understanding why we might get trapped by those words. And they're big words because they've been infected into cultures for thousands of years, yeah? Even cultures that never heard him again. Those religionists were big in propagation, right? Just like the lobbyists in your government. They have all the financial backing. They have all the mechanisms of communication and training and espousing, right? It's just another form of consumption now. Everything is consumption, things. Oh, I have to have things. I have to have other things to bow down to pray to. So I try, and that's why I rewrote all of the Gosho Zenshu. They're available in the bookstore. They're the same Gosho, they're the same letters, but I've removed the words that have been forced into Buddhism that are not. Nietzsche never would have used the word faith. Never. It didn't exist. But man, you read these translations and faith, 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 faith. No! That is not Buddhism. So yeah, I replaced those words with conviction, determination. Oh wow, that makes sense, Sifu. How did you think of that? By studying Buddhism, you study it long enough I'm not that brilliant, so it took me a while. And then it just dawns on you, oh, that's not what any of this is saying. That the word starts to look like a boil in the middle of what you're reading. You don't want to, right? So I'm just cutting to the chase. I'm just saying, look, let's remove as much of the bull crap and get to Shakyamuni's truth, the Dharma. You have agency, and that agency is your honzon to Buddha. You educate that agency, you train that agency by chanting Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. And then you and you alone are in control of your life, your experience of life, universal life. Nothing in the way, no caveats, no manipulations. Be you. Literally, I know it's a meme, but it's a meme without meaning. Unless you really understand what it is to have your own agency. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. All right. I'm glad I got that off my chest. I was looking for something to read. I get tired of sometimes the same old battles. The Hashu Imoku Sho. It's a treatise written by Nichiren to Toki Jonin. And it talks about other sects again. But it has this interesting component of describing the different interpretations of Buddha by different levels of teaching, the Hinayana, the early Mahayana, the different sects, how they interpreted Buddha. And I thought, oh, that would be interesting, I think, especially in terms of agency. Because in Hinayana, early teachings, there's nothing very explicit about original enlightenment, about everyone having the Buddha nature in them as a component part of this construct, this body, brain, mind experience. Those are the three bodies of Buddha, by the way. Think about that. Hinayana doesn't do that. It points abstractly at enlightenment. But what's missing there? Agency. It's early training on taking control of your thoughts, your mind. Why? How? For what reason? For what objective? The objective's been there all along. Oh, we don't learn that in Hinayana. We don't learn that innately we are the agency. That we make our lives. That once we perceive that, that's Buddha. That's not in Hinayana because it's missing agency. There's a lot of talk about agency, but it doesn't come together until later as the teachings expand and prepare those minds of ours to grasp what it is to really experience life in its entirety, how to be the navigator, the experiencer, the witness, the influencer of this momentum. Okay, so I guess I've given away the secret that we're going to start on this next letter, this next treatise, Gosho, whatever you like to call it, in the next video. But for now, understand you have agency. If you're not happy with the way your life is going, then you change it. How do you change it? Chant. Chant, and it is changing under your feet. Have confidence that that's occurring because you're refocusing all of your momentum toward it. Namo Myo Renge Kyo. With deep appreciation for your life, your agency, your support. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I know, blah, 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 blah. It bothers me to go through that, but that is the mechanism we're using to spread this knowledge. And so let's use it, right? No manipulation here. Let's use every tool at our advantage to get more and more people to stop assigning agency outside themselves and realize that the only true agency is their own. In fact, to assign agency to other things is their agency. Right? Namo Myo Renge Kyo. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Download the podcast, all of that stuff. And if you know somebody who can enjoy this particular video, or that you think it would help you explain your relationship with Buddhism with them, then by all means share it. Yeah. Stay strong, stay healthy, be kind to yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.